I've been invited to 𝗏𝗨 in Germany to see the new releases for Ibanez in 2025, which is today, if you're watching it on day of release. And I can't do it on my own because you know all the Ibanez stuff is complicated. There's numbers, there's prices, there's specs. I need someone from 𝗏𝗨, someone from Ibanez, someone who's extremely good looking. I'm going to need Dan. Hey, Dan.
Hey, good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's almost lunch, so let's get this done quickly, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You got some new Ibanez stuff.
Exciting stuff.
Exciting. Your words, not mine. No, it is exciting. There's one guitar that isn't here yet that I'm really excited about, but it will be appearing at some point in this video.
Okay.
You know the one that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
But what have you got for 2025? People that are Ibanez fans want to know.
Exciting stuff. As I said, of course, we've always got limited models, and in the premium range, every year we have like 1 or 2 special models that come up with, or that bring something to the table that hasn't been there before. And for this year, we've got this beautiful model, the RGR6BSP, and it comes with blue hardware. It comes with blue pickups. It comes with blue finish. It's got a Makassar ebony fretboard that is completely blacked out. Reverse headstock with a black Ibanez logo. So this is like a super metal looking, but also non-black shred machine. And I think it's really interesting visually to have something that looks so metal, but it's not black.
It is. It's interesting is that it's not metal. It's kind of showy, but not going all the way into disco metal. You know, disco metal's too far. You don't go that far.
Yeah.
But may I?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, it's a good weight. It's very comfortable. Thin neck, of course. Are we calling this a
Wizard 3?
Wizard 3?
It's like more like meaty. Yeah.
And I like my big necks. However, there's something about the Wizard 3s that I love. But anything in between those two, don't like. I like that very much. If you did this in a red, then I would really like that. Do we have a price range?
That's like 1,500-1,600-ish.
Okay.
So street prices they always differ, but yeah. Again, it's a premium range, so that's it comes with locking tremolo, edge 0 tremolo. We've got Fishman pickups with voicing switches, and this is a professional instrument. It's not entry level.
No, of course not.
The looks might already give it away. So this is like it's a flashy guitar, but it's also a professional instrument. This is really important to notice.
I love RGs, and I don't have one currently, and I'm waiting for the right one to come along before I buy. I think this is close, but it's not quite it for me personally.
Yeah.
But obviously people are going to love some of it. Some people are going to love it.
Yeah.
What else have you got for me?
Well, first of all, we have a matching bass.
I actually love this. When you held this up earlier, I was more impressed by the bass. Not impressed. I was more excited by the bass than I was by the RG because this I expect. This was a bit sort of left of the middle.
Yeah. But this is like supposed to kind of fit because it shares the same idea. Also, we have like the blue hardware. We've got the Fishman pickups. A little bit opposite to this one is that we have the acrylic blue inlays, which kind of add to the more, I don't know, like standout look to it. It's probably divisive and polarizing, but with the blue Ibanez logo and the blue acrylic inlays, this is just like the matching, like the missing link to this one. And I think it would look rad in the band, if the guitar player and the bass player would both play an instrument like that. That's a look, right? That's a whole look.
I was looking on the back of this because there's nothing exciting, but there is there's sort of a, what's the word? A unifying look. Yeah. But the bass, of course, is always a bit more weird, right? Like,
yeah, especially without the headstock, it's an EHB.
It's always a bit more bass player.
Yeah. But this screams, look at me, right?
I want that on the guitar. I know you've just made this and you're very proud of this, but I want more of that on this.
Okay, you want it to be even more flashy.
Yeah, okay. I think you can do it. I think you can push it that far.
All right. Well, let's see what the future will bring.
Right now, what else do we have? What's up next?
The SML series with our...
What does SML stand for?
It's an S shape. And that's a light, and it's super light. It almost goes up there, and it's got a light multi-scale. So basically, what we do is like they are kind of slotted in just one direction to kind of ease up the playing if you're tapping and sliding in the upper frets. So here you can play your country chords, and you don't, with a multi-scale. Yeah. Usually, if you want to play traditional chords, it's a pain in the neck because it goes in this direction there. Really, it's a pain in the neck, because you do those kind of weird hand movements, and here you've got like the regular feel here, but the more you go up the neck, the easier it gets for those kind of tapped harmonics and slides, etc. So that's like best of both worlds, you know, keeping it modern. And yeah, there you go. And that's a new model. The SML was already in the market last year, but this is a new finish, the Arctic Ocean Matte finish, the same one as we just saw on the EHB base.
One of the things I like about Ibanez guitars is the little fairy door where you adjust the truss rod. But I believe that the best place to have a truss rod adjustment is at the heel. And that's just a more, I know you can't knock the RG, but that's a more modern, more sensible way of adjusting a truss rod. That's a very playable guitar. Even though it might look a little bit modern, I think that just from looks and specs, seems like a more versatile guitar. Again, like if you have just the one, you know, you could do a lot. I don't know about the sounds and how this split 5-way.
Yep.
And then a dynamic switch.
Kinda, yep.
Kinda, yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be. I'm going to plug that in today.
It's got the Q58 pickups, the same ones that you already tested in the headless models. So in the Quest guitars, so that's pretty interesting, and they were quite fitting to that configuration. And as you just said, what's so cool about this is like this is a gigging guitar, so you can do 5 hours gig or 4 hours gig, and it ain't gonna break your back, you know. And
it's insanely light.
Yeah. And what's so special, you know, the special secret behind that is that in the center, it's almost, or it is, the same width or the same thickness as on a regular guitar, but it kind of gets the thinner the more you go to the outlines. So basically this part, the main part, the center of the guitar.
Then it tapers off into a very thin, kind of like an SG in ways.
Yeah.
But as an SG player.
Here you can see it. So, and that's really like the special sauce about this one, that it's in the middle, it's like a full thickness guitar, and then on the outer rims it kind of gets much smaller.
Did we do price range?
That's also around $1,000.
All right.
Yep.
I'll put it back. You got the next one.
All right. Here we've got something new, the RGR52ET, and this is a EverTune guitar. RGR because of the reverse headstock.
Yes.
A 52, 2 humbuckers, 5 is just like the series, and then we've got the EverTune, black EverTune. We've got the Fishman pickups, of course, with voicing switch, 3-way switch here. We've got a beautiful Makassar ebony fretboard that kind of has that nice grain, so every piece will be very individual because, you know, the grain will always differ. And what's here special is we have a 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗍 body that is capped with a maple cap for tonal reasons, I suppose. So it's got a maple cap.
Tone what is real.
Tone. And we've got a matte finished black neck.
I got to touch it, Dan.
Yeah, yeah.
That is beautiful. My favorite part of the guitar, is the neck. To finish that sentence. To tell you a story is that I tried out 2 guitars yesterday, which took some people about 40 minutes to get to me. I picked them up, held the neck and went, no, thank you.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
And I felt terrible, but that's how quickly it was a personal guitar, okay? So it wasn't a review or anything. I knew instantly that wasn't the guitar for me. That wasn't what I was looking for. That's a little bit heavier than this one, but it's a good weight. It's comfortable. It's not going to hurt too much. Unless you're having back problems like me at the moment. But that neck, if you need a swift neck, that is swift. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Steve behind the camera to have a quick feel of that. Steve, have a feel of that. What do you think?
Amazing.
Yeah? Yeah?
I love it.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get stuck in the heat of the battle, and that's super important.
Price point?
That's also $15.99-ish.
That could be. That's more the RG than the other one for me at the moment.
Yes. And then even, not even more interesting, but similarly interesting, we had that Black Aura burst finish already last year on a 7-string with multi-scale. And there were a lot of fans of the finish, but there was not a 6-string available. So basically, our friends in Japan, they came up with the idea, okay, let's do a stripped-down version of that guitar. So we have a RGD, so 26.5-inch scale. We've got ebony fretboard.
24?
24 frets. And we've got just monorail bridge. We've got 3-way switch with voicing here in the tone knob, in the volume knob, not tone, we're not Van Halen, obviously. And yeah, and it's just like a no-frills guitar with, you know, roasted maple, locking tuners, of course, ideal for down tuning, for trying out different voicings. And yeah, I'm very happy to have this because this is, you know, this comes in at, I think, $10.99. It's lightweight with the 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗍𝗪 body. And yeah.
That's very nicely balanced, Dan.
Yeah, of course.
So the RGR feels a little heavier in the body area, and the S feels light everywhere. This one is lightly balanced.
Yeah.
Okay, that
That's
is
a really good package, right?
that is a good package. I wish that had the neck of the RGR.
You need to puzzle your own guitars together.
I do. I need a custom shop Ibanez. There's some guitars that excite me more than others. Some from just looking at them. Some from like, oh wow, okay, now I understand that as an instrument. You know. So we guitar players, we choose with our eyes, generally speaking.
Of course.
This is one that my body chose as like, okay, that's a nice instrument. That makes sense. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
sense.
the package it's just it fits, right? Not this package. All right. Let's take
thank
two
you.
more.
Very sparkly.
Very sparkly and also very 80s, you know. And this is the RG standard line, the RG460 DX Deluxe. So basically, what's behind this is that we wanted to, you know, take those old shapes and old not shapes designs from the 80s and kind of get those into a more affordable standard range. And in order to make it also as versatile as possible, we have a HSS configuration, 5-way switch. We've got a locking tremolo, double locking tremolo.
That is light as heck.
It is light as heck. So you can do all the fancy fluttering,
little
all
look
that
at
fluttering.
that. Boing.
Yeah, yeah. And you know some nice details. You know, we've got that mono unit for the jack socket, which is basically
Let's
new
talk
standard.
about that for a moment.
Yeah.
This is, I think, one of the greatest things Ibanez has brought to the guitar world in the past few years. Because is it the number one thing that goes wrong with guitars is the jack output socket?
Entry level, of course.
Entry level, of course.
Yeah.
But this is it just makes so much sense. It's a better quality approach to plugging in your guitar.
That's almost unbreakable, and even if you have to change it, it's just like you take it out, the whole unit, it's just one soldering point that you need to
Because people, when you have the nut on there, let's get super geeky. When you have the nut on there, people just tighten the nut. And what they're actually doing is revolving the thing inside, which rips the wires out. I know because I've done it. And I'm not going to unscrew that, I'm just going to tighten the nut. Whoops. Yeah, sorry. I know that's not the major USP of this guitar, but it's one of the reasons I like what you guys do, because you didn't just stick an output jack on there. And as a reviewer, when I see that, I'm like, okay, if they've paid that much attention to this and that, which is beautiful, then I know I'm starting. That's a good starting point for me.
100%.
And some people might not know that when they're buying guitars. So I feel very privileged to be able to get that message across.
That's good. Yeah, and the point of this model really is that, you know, there are a lot of people that are in the market for guitar, you know, beginners or people that are looking for a backup guitar that just dig those 80s looks. Some of them grew up in the 80s, some didn't, but they might, you know, they might just fall in love with those looks. So we wanted to have this in the RG standard range as well.
How much are we looking at roughly?
Something below 600, 550-ish.
I'm going to say it, Dan. That's the best setup trem on that guitar sort of price point that I've ever touched.
Nice.
And I know these are showroom models, but I know that you guys at 𝗦𝗨 in Germany check these guitars.
Of course, every guitar.
So that I would say comes pretty much across the board when you buy one of these.
I would hope so, yeah. So we do our best to ensure that they are playable straight from the box.
Sorry.
Cat purring. Nice. And then moving on in a similar direction, we have the Genesis collection. I think one of our other YouTuber friends is currently holding the second color hostage in the video room. So hopefully we can show that a little bit later, maybe in a couple of minutes.
That's the one that's going to appear, the one that I foreshadowed at the beginning of this video.
There you go.
But we have the blue one. Let's not ignore it.
Yes, this is the blue one, electric blue one. This is the RG565R. And 565 in that instance is renowned for that H configuration, but with a humbucker in the bridge and a single coil shaped humbucker in the neck position. And Genesis collection basically targets at bringing, like kind of reissuing what was hot in the 80s, you know, what started the whole craze, you know, Gem and RG in the 80s, bring that back at a super competitive price point, but with all the original specs. So the ingredients you would find here is identical to what has been offered in the 80s. So we are talking about an original edge tremolo, locking tremolo, super smooth, super sturdy. We're talking about Ibanez V8 pickup, S1 pickup. We have the rosewood fretboard with the shark tooth inlays. So basically also a DX model, so to say. We've got a reverse headstock that's always looking super nice. And we've got the square heel on the back, of course, because this is how they made the guitars. It's not super retro because we already have this little bit of a recess here, so it's comfy. And it's actually the preferred setup or configuration of a lot of artists, like Paul Gilbert, for instance. He still prefers this over the super smooth all-access neck joint, which, if you're used to that and if you want to have your hand in that position, I think it's understandable. But yeah, that's like the made in Japan entry drug, let's put it that way.
Okay.
These clock in at $11.99. They don't come with a case, they don't come with a gig bag, because we wanted to ensure that it's the most aggressive price point and we can make it as accessible as possible. So this is all made in Japan, and it plays like a dream. It's got a slightly thicker neck compared to the originals in the 90, which I think is a testament to the current zeitgeist, where people are more leaning towards chunkier necks, like this gentleman over there, but it's still thin.
It is definitely thin. There's no way you'd call that a thick neck. However, there's more of a shoulder on it.
Correct.
So there's more of it.
It's more like a beefy wizard.
Yeah, beefy wizard.
Yeah, the beefy wizard.
That sounds like a great fast food restaurant.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet at the Beefy Wizard at 8. There you go.
Love it, Dan. I love the Genesis series from before. I like that you're continuing to update it.
Yeah.
I'm now stalling to see if by any chance the yellow one comes in, but it isn't. So we're going to move on and maybe we'll get the yellow one at the end. Where does this one come from?
Here, we have it right here.
Let's see if Andy can put it back without dropping it.
Yes.
There we go.
All right, and then this is old stuff, that has been released already in autumn. So we saw that at Guitar Summit, especially the viewers on your channel.
Yes.
But we are probably at one of the most important releases in a long time here.
I'm going to go over here already.
Okay.
Bring two over and I'll hold one.
Okay.
We've saved the best for, apparently the best. I haven't played them. This is the first time I'm touching them. Wow. Okay. Tell me, Dan, what is this?
This is an AZ.
Okay, what's different about it?
Well, this is not an AZ Prestige. This is also not an AZ Essential. It's also not an AZ Premium.
But what is it?
It's an AZ Standard. And that was basically the blind point that we had. We had we had those affordable AZ Essential models that did not have a body shaping that was as comfy as the AZ Originals. We did have the premiums that were north of $1,000, and of course we had the made in Japan models. But in those, between 400 to 900 euros, there was nothing. And Hoshino put a lot of effort and R&D into finding the factory that could nail it, and we're happy for 2025 to have the AZ Standard. And let's just address the elephant in the room. These guitars clock in at $550, and they come with some of the most exciting specs in a long time, because we are talking about the AZ original shape. So you get all the curves, all the sexy curves that the AZ range is renowned for. We have Ibanez own pickups. So these are specifically designed and proprietary Ibanez pickups. They're called the Classic Customs or the Modern Customs. So we have humbuckers and SS in the 22 fret models, and we've got in the 24 model guitar 2 humbuckers, similarly to the logic of the AZ series. We have vintage style tremolo. We've got the dynamic switching, so we kept that with those pickups. So we have 9 different options for switching in the HSS model, and we've got 10 different tones with the dynamics in the 24 fret model. Again, we try to keep as many features as the top-notch models have. So we are talking about a Jatoba fretboard with stainless steel frets. We have a roasted maple neck, and we've got locking tuners, Ibanez OEM locking tuners, making this like the whole package. If you're looking for if you're like a advanced beginner that just wants to step up the ladder a little bit, if you're looking for a super reliable backup guitar, if you're looking for a great sounding guitar and you are not in the market with a 4-digit budget, I'm just super happy to have these, because they look gorgeous. One of the key features I almost forgot, these feature a alder body, and you're very well aware that I'm like a big fan of alder, because I think that's one of the best woods you can use. Not going into the tone wood debate, but I think it has just the right middle between weight, between the tonality, how hyphy or how how that tone is shaped. It's more neutral than other. Let's put it that way. It's more neutral than other tones, than other woods. And I think the weight and the overall sound of this guitar is so exciting because we are having a super nice package here at a good price point. And I'm really curious to hear what you think about the pickups, because I know the Japanese, they put a lot of effort into developing those.
Obviously, I'm going to plug these in. I'm going to do a dedicated video to these and to this, this possibly versus a Prestige or something like that. However, and this is going to make you very happy, and hopefully you as well, I'm worried that as a person who touches a lot of guitars and has opinions about them, I'm not sure that I could tell the difference between this and the models above it immediately. Looking at it, if you handed that to me and said it was not a standard, just said this is the new AZ, I would not know this was cheaper, just looking at it. You have not made the necks worse. Let's put that positively. The necks feel very similar. What I love about the AZ is there's enough chunkiness there, but it's not too chunky it pleases me, the chunky lover, and it also pleases the person who isn't a chunky lover, a slim fanatic. You've got my favorite knobs on this one, for example. I think the thing that would point out to me that this isn't a regular AZ that I'm used to is this just a bit more shiny than usual.
Yes. It's also screwed in, there's no...
And it's screwed in.
It's screwed in, so that's like, you know...
But on first glance, I would just say, yes, that's an AZ. So have Ibanez nailed the aesthetic? In my opinion, 100%. If you want to know if they've nailed the sounds and the rest of it, you're going to have to subscribe to the channel and watch another video with these guitars in it. See? No,
nice
cracking work, Dan. I know you didn't do all of the work yourself, but...
I did nothing. Just nothing. I'm just here talking to you, so...
No, very exciting, because to finalize this and to make a big statement, this price point of guitars, I think, is the most important price point for guitar players, because you buy your first guitar or you have your first guitar bought for you. Maybe it costs in the $200 region if you're lucky, and there can be some problems with that. Then you want to upgrade, and I remember doing this myself. That was because I know a little bit, oh, what do I want? This is if it sounds good and if it delivers in all the areas, this is the price point that is the biggest step you make as a guitar player. Then you start dreaming about having the less affordable, more premium models. You know what I mean? The dream guitars. This is the price point where you need to be nailing it. So I really hope that you are. Thank you for talking about these releases.
Very happy.
If you have any questions, then I'm going to put Dan's email address in the video description and first comments. You can email him directly and ask him for the specs and prices and things like that, his favorites. More Ibanez content on the channel, of course. Happy New Year, and I will see you in another video. Cheers. Bye.